Alright, it's time. Time for the Kingdom Rush and Kingdom Rush Frontiers tier list. So basically what's going on is I beat Kingdom Rush and Kingdom Rush Frontiers, 100% completed, all stars, all achievements, stuff like that. So I'm going to make a tier list on the towers because no one I know plays this game, and I want to say something about it. So yeah, or at least the towers. The game's really good, play it. Or both games. I'm also working on Kingdom Rush Origins, pretty good so far. I think I like it better than the other two, but yeah. Also, I haven't looked at any YouTube videos on Kingdom Rush Tower tier list, but there are probably some, but those are my opinions. So yeah, if you don't like it, then that's too bad. Okay, so I'm gonna start. We have the Arcane Wizard. So I think the tower is really good, like super good. The death ray on it is like incredibly good. Probably one of the best abilities in the game. It can easily take out like Dark Slayers. Even the lava golems are like they just disappear, and they're like super good at their job. One of the levels where the forest beasts come out, I think it's like a post main campaign level or something. Forest trolls, they are not a problem. They just get whenever one spawns, death ray just kills it, and it has it's reliable too, and it's I think it's time based, which is always very good. I recommend getting this tower on like almost every stage, probably. It's super good with the Rangers hideout, like a few Rangers hideouts with vines and poison, and the Arcane Wizard with the death ray is the best tower combination in the entire game. Yeah, it's super strong. So I think for that, I also have to talk about its main attack. Its main attack does a ton of damage. I know it's slow firing, but heavy damage is its goal, and it's very good at that. The teleportation ability is okay. I don't really get it, but if you have extra cash, then you could get it. It's not bad. It's just that I don't really get it. I don't think it's that useful. So I think I think I'm gonna put an A for now. I can move it, but you could argue for S tier. Okay, next we have the Archmage from Kingdom Rush Frontiers. And I also like this tower, but not as much as the Arcane Wizard. It's both of its abilities are decent. You don't really have to get it. The base DPS of the tower is really good alone, and it's probably the main reason you should be getting it. Critical mass is good for crowd control, but I don't really get it. I find other towers better for that, and the tornado is good. It's a lot better. It's definitely an upgrade from the teleportation ability of the Arcane Wizard, but you don't have to get it. Usually get this tower for its very high DPS, and I think I'm gonna also put it in A tier. You could argue for B or probably even S tier, maybe. Okay, so next we have the Assassin's Guild. So I think this tower is kind of meh. The main point of the Barracks tower is to stall and not really do damage. I mean, the Assassin's Guilds don't really do damage, but their stalling capabilities, they're kind of frail, and they're not the most reliable. I don't know. I think they're kind of B tier towers. The pickpocket ability, I'm not sure. I've used it. It makes like I think it steals money often, but it only steals like 1 or 2 gold, and it's a 100 gold upgrade. I usually don't get it. The dodge counterattack ability, that one is one. If you're getting this tower, you probably should get that one because dodging attacks improves its survivability by a ton, and that's exactly what you need from Barracks tower. The sneak attack ability, you don't have to get it. It doesn't really do that much damage, and it's not Barracks aren't really a damage tower. And you can probably tell I'm going to think about the Barbarian Mead Hall because yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's kind of meh. I prefer the Templars over the Assassins, and I really did not use this tower as much as the Templars. But yeah, onto the Barbarian Mead Hall. Yeah, I think it's C tier for a pretty good reason. I think the concept of this tower is that they're stall and damage hybrid, but it doesn't really work out. The main thing with barracks is you need them to stall. That's why they're barracks, not really do damage. And because of their high damage output, which is, I mean, it's still good, like the damage output, but you use towers for it. As a result, their health and survivability is very low, and they just end up getting wiped out easily. I don't really like this tower that much. Or, well, I do like it, I could not find a reason to use it. I've tried using it a lot of times, but I mean, it's just they just don't survive long enough to do their job. Their damage output's okay, but it's not as good as a regular tower. I would not recommend getting these. And if you still really like this tower and you really want to use it, then probably go for all 3 of the upgrades. Probably the axe throwing one, the one that throws axes. Probably get that one first, but Holy Order is just so much better than the Barbarian meat hall. Alright, next we have Battle Mecha. I like this. I think I like this tower. I don't think it's as good as the DWAARP, which I really like, but it's still a good tower. It has decent damage. You can move it around, which is super helpful. I like that part a lot. The wasp missiles are okay. They're kind of expensive, but they're slow and they don't do that much damage, but it's nice to have. But I think the oil spill upgrade is a lot better. It's like a 10-second stun or something like that, which is really good, and it slows down a lot. So it allows the battle mecha to get good damage off, and if you're surrounding it with like archmages or crossbow forts, they can do a ton of damage as well. I think I'm gonna put this in A tier. I think this is a good tower. I guess you could argue for B or S tier. So yeah. Next one is Big Bertha. I tried to use this tower. Unfortunately, I don't think it's bad. It just gets overshadowed by Tesla, which is a lot better. So Big Bertha, it fires super slowly. Its main attack damage is good, but if it kind of misses sometimes, especially if there's like one enemy in front of the other, and I know that happens with all artillery towers, but for this one it's a lot worse because it attacks so slowly. The missile from this one is okay, you could get it, and I mean the cluster bombs is way better. Cluster bombs I think it's good, but overall this tower is kind of mid. I don't really get it that much. I usually get Tesla because it's just better. So I think I'm going to put this, I'd say B tier. You could argue for A or maybe even C tier. But yeah. Alright, crossbow forts. I think I know where I'm putting this one. So first of all, it's very cheap. It deals very good damage. Like its damage output is very good. And Barrage, the ability, is also extremely good. That does tons of damage. The Blackbird ability, it's kind of okay. You don't have to get it. Or like, I don't know. I tried using it. I never really found a good use for it. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's still a super good tower though. I think I'll put it in S tier. It's just, you can build a lot of them and they do super high damage, which I really like. I really like the crossbow forts. DWAARP, I think I really, really like this tower. I think in order for it to be valuable, you have to absolutely get the I don't know, the one where the ability where it sets the ground on fire. If you have the DWAARP base, I don't think it's as worth it, but I think it's still good base. But if you're getting the DWAARP, you're getting the burning ability. Once you get that, it's like it's so good. It's like it's a one tower that defines like it's like your main tower at a stage. It does really good damage, good attack rate, and the best thing about it is it like stuns an entire area. It's not like another artillery tower like Battle Mecha or Big Bertha where it only gets one area at a time. The DWAARP covers everything in its radius at the same time, which is super good, and once the burn gets off once the ground gets super hot, then everything on that field except for the tough enemies are dead. So it's like incredibly good. The only downside, I guess, is it has a pretty high cost, but I think it's justified for that high cost. Usually you get this tower and Necromancer. That's the best. I think that's the two best tower combination in Kingdom Rush Frontiers. Get that, and it works for most stages. You start off with like a DWAARP and Necromancer, and you should be good. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put this one in S tier. Very, very good tower. Okay, for Holy Order, now this is the definition of how to do barracks right. First of all, the knights have very good survivability. I think the first upgrade you get is either the heal or the one where it increases your armor, the middle one. Once you do that, they basically do not get killed. Except against like super tough enemies that do a ton of damage. But yeah, Holy Order, their main focus is stalling, which is exactly what a barracks should do. They can stall pretty much anything except like bosses and super tough enemies for a long time, and they're very good at their job. I think this tower definitely deserves A tier. I didn't put them in S tier because barracks, they're not really a damage tower, they're more of a stalling tower, but you could argue for S tier. I think you could definitely argue for S tier. Oh, and you could argue, I didn't mention this for other towers, but I think it was Battle Mecha. Battle Mecha you could argue for B or S tier maybe. Or you could argue for A tier, and Crossbow Masters you could argue for A tier as well. I don't think the last two towers are B tiers. But yeah, as I was saying, I wasn't done with Holy Order either. The ability, the Holy Strike ability, I wouldn't get it. You could get it. I think it's okay, but it's not really a damage tower. It's a stall tower, which is exactly what it should be. And it does a very good job at it. Now we're on Templars. The Templars, I think they're like Holy Order light. They're not as good, but they're still pretty good. I don't know if they're as good as the Holy Order, but I'll probably put them in A tier. If you're gonna get the upgrades, probably get the health one. Okay, so I looked it up. The other two abilities. Holy Grail is. I think I remember getting this one. A fully upgraded chance to cheat death is 40%, which is pretty good. I think I'd get it, but get the health one first, so they first survive. The middle path one, the strike. You don't have to get it. It's kind of a damage ability. It's okay. I got it before, but it's kind of mid. Get the health one and get the chalice one, and these guys can stay on the field for a long time. Not as good as the Templars, the Holy Order, but still a good tower. You could argue this for B tier probably. So yeah. Yeah, but also shows how much I didn't really use that much barracks in Frontiers because Cronin is like basically just a better barracks. The Hogs and himself are probably good enough for most stages. Yeah, I don't really use that much barracks in Frontiers. But yeah, if you're going for barracks, go for the Templar. Okay, now we have the Musketeer Garrison. So for this tower, it has a lot of problems. I tried using it. I think the only time. Well, actually, no. I think the only time like the Musketeer Garrison is the clear choice of tower you should get is when you're going against the two stages of the Black Hags, because the Black Hags like to fly around all over the map, and Musketeer Garrisons are pretty much perfect for the job for that one. But other than that, they have a really slow fire rate. Their damage is okay. The insta-kill ability I don't like at all because it's very unreliable because it's on a % base chance, unlike a timer for the Arcane Wizard. Yeah, I don't like the insta-kill ability. I wouldn't get it, but the Grape Shot ability or Blunderbuss or whatever it's called, that one's a very costly ability, but I think it does extremely high damage. If you're gonna get Musketeer Garrison, I would probably get the Grape Shot ability and max it out because it does a lot of damage and it fires at a decent pace, or speed or whatever. I think this is like, it's either a C or B tier tower. I think it's a B tier tower. I don't think it's as bad as Barbarian Meat Hall. I don't know. I would not really get Musketeer Garrison on most maps. Only a few maps you'd get it. Alright, next is Necromancer. Okay, I think this tower is very good. First of all, its damage is pretty good. It's not as high as the Archmage's DPS, but its strengths lie in mostly its utility. But yeah, the base damage is still good. The skeletons it spawns is probably the best feature. You basically have like a skeleton army that will hold off pretty fast and replenishes it after like a big horde or something. Death Rider is also good. I'd recommend getting that one if you're one short on a staller. He could be on the field for a decently long time, and he's a pretty decent staller. I don't know about the poison mist ability. I get it, but it's I don't know. It's okay. You could get it if you want. You don't need it though. But yeah, but I think this tower is super good, like better than the Arcane Wizard. Yeah, but as I said, DWAARP and this tower is the best 2-tower combination in Frontiers. I think for that reason, I think it deserves an S tier. It's really good. It's a really good tower. Alright, Ranger's Hideout. Now this tower is also really good. Its DPS, base DPS is decent, and then if you get poison arrows, it becomes a lot higher, which is very nice. So it's already a super high DPS tower, and then on top of that, if you get the Vine ability, that's also a super good ability. You really want the Vine ability, because you basically get to stall like more than 5 enemies at a time, and the vines last for a very long time. So on some stages, like I said before, you could have multiple of these towers, and the enemies are just going to be stuck in like one place for like 15, 20, even 30 seconds, and that's enough time for like a tough enemy to get insta-killed by the Arcane Wizard before, and it can recharge in death ray too. So yeah, I think this tower is like extremely good. I would recommend getting this tower, using this tower a lot, along with the Arcane Wizard. Yeah, but you could also I keep forgetting to say this, but you could argue Necromancer for A tier, Ranger's Hideout for A tier, and maybe Musketeer Garrison for C tier, maybe A tier, but I doubt it. Alright, next is the Sorcerer. I think this tower is on par with the Arcane Wizard. Maybe the Arcane Wizard is a little better, but Sorcerer, first of all, it deals very good damage. That curse effect, I think it is true damage, so the true damage ignores any type of resistances, which is always helpful. The golem it spawns is probably the best staller besides like the heroes. I would always get the golem. The polymorph ability, I personally didn't like that ability because I've had one too many times where the sheep would just bypass everything and walk out the exit after restart because of that. But that was before I realized the sheep could be tapped to be destroyed. So, and by the time I found that out, it was a little too late. I think it's a good ability. If you're getting the Sorcerer, go for both abilities. They're both good, and the Sorcerer base DPS is very good. This is also pretty good against like Cerberus, if you have trouble with that. So yeah, I recommend this tower a lot. I think high A tier. You could argue this for S tier too, I think. And then we have Tesla. This is probably the strongest tower out of all of these. First of all, it's not that expensive to build compared to the Big Bertha, I think. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I think it is cheaper. The base damage on that is pretty good, but where it really shines is when you max out both abilities. You have to get both abilities. The static discharge field is incredibly good. It could wipe out like any normal skeletons, which is very useful in like the later underground levels, and the upgrade where it increases like the arc length or arc number of enemies to get hit with the lightning is also very good. Get both abilities, and this tower will basically carry you with almost any stage. It's super good, has very good crowd control, and it has decent damage too. Not against like Dark Slayers or anything, but yeah, it still does like decent damage. Let's go next tier. This is really good tower. Alright, and then we have the axe throwers. I really like the axe. I like the axe throwers a lot. I think where they are used, where they shine the most, are probably the jungle stages with all the shamans, and the those ocean stages with the bluegales and black surges. Just because of the silence ability, which is very good against them. I think the silence ability works on a lot of Saurians too, but the Nightshades, I mean, the invisibility is not that big of a deal, and the darting is not that big of a deal either. I think I did use this in one or two of the underground stages, and they did help. I did like this tower. Yeah, I think the main attack the main attack, the DPS is okay, but they miss a lot, which is the problem. But yeah, the silence totem is very good on certain stages, but is kind of situational, and the weakened totem, I think that one is good everywhere. I think that ability is very good. I think this deserves. I think it deserves A tier. I think it's a good tower. I think it's hard. I think it's a little harder to use than the other towers, but I still think it's pretty good. You could argue for B tier. I definitely think you could argue for B tier for this one too. But yeah, I think that's the tier list. So I'm done with it. See ya.